banking system is in severe chaos. We could be seeing 186 banks at risk of a bank run and failure. And people are believing that this crypto rally is natural, it's organic, and it's going to be the hedge for all of those people that are likely to be doing a bank run. Is that true, or is that total crap? And are we actually going to be seeing a systemic collapse in all financial markets over the coming months? Are we going to be finally seeing a Bitcoin bottom of 12 to 14K or potentially worse? All of that and more is going to be talked about in today's video, coming up in 3, 2, 1. It's the final countdown to the bottom. We'll be billionaires. We'll be stinking rich. Welcome. Would you like to learn? Is the cryptocurrency market going to collapse amidst the banking crisis going on currently? Are we artificially being propped up by speculation because people are believing that with potential bank crisis and bank failure, that actually crypto is the safe haven? It's the way of hedging your money and preserving your value of the money that you may have in banks, or that the US people believe can be preserved in banks? Or is this actually the beginning of systemic risk in the whole financial system, including Bitcoin, and it's going to spill into cryptos and stocks very, very shortly? And what is on my wish list of cryptos that I am wanting to buy when certain prices are met, and further analysis on cryptocurrencies that I believe have the best chance of explosive potential in the next bull market, whenever it may come. All of that and more coming up in today's video here with me, the Suppoman, your superhero of 100 to 1000x gems. I found them in the past. I will find them again. And I am making sure that this time I learn from mistakes that I succumbed to in the last bear market. In the last bear market, I was way too premature, feeling every single pump was going to be the beginning of the next bull market, and being fundamentally disappointed, but arguably came to my senses and did call the second bottom for Bitcoin, which actually saw 82% of altcoins finding a new bottom versus the first bottom that came in December 2018 after the second to last bull run. So, I've been around in the market for 6 years. I have got all the war wounds and scars. I have lived through a lot of the pain that has been felt in cryptocurrency in the last 6 years. So I feel I'm well placed, and arguably I am the last bear standing as well. Because Alex Becker, even he has changed his mind. I reverse my sentiment. We are out of a catch a goodbye investing and now in make moves or lose everything mode. We've got Elio Trades, who was also saying that he believed that we were going to be seeing further lows. We had not bottomed yet, and now he is saying this is it. This is the moment we wake up to the value of decentralized money, and this is a major turning point for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And this individual as well has also said, is also pivoting. In fact, to be honest, he's just been going with the flow of the market for Bybit referrals. But he has been saying that Il Capo is probably the last Twitter bear standing. And he's basically been ribbed and said, oh, I really hope it's all happen. We'll get a new low. Like crap, like mocking him basically. So I believe I'm pretty much the last bear standing, essentially. And it's a very, very risky position to be in, but I am fundamentally strong in my beliefs. Because right now, we are seeing Bitcoin pretty much at the highest price it's been since last May. You know, when the Terra Luna collapse happened and then we had 75 basis point rate hikes, then we saw crypto fundamentally going down from 30k to the 15,000s at worst. And now we have gone and we have almost eradicated all of that bearishness. So if you have not yet bought, if you are still sitting in stables, then you are possibly thinking, right, that whole period, that whole kind of nearly 60% of a year that we have been seeing low prices, that moment has gone. And this is an arena for me to analyze everything that's gone on lately, what's caused the pump in the price, what's happening in the financial system around the price, and for you to ask me questions, A, about what's going on right now, and B, for you to talk to me about cryptocurrencies that you are very much in belief of, etc. So in the meantime, before I move any further, let me say hello to you people. And if you see a little bit of foam here, this is really to stop the echo, because there's probably quite a bit of echo because I have changed my room around. So who have we got in the house? We've got Patrick, Lawrence, Leonardo, Quincy, Crypto Chrissy, Matavisual, William Levenberg, QWERTY Bertie, DeFi Academy, Glenbert, Sergeant Ferro, Lindsay, Grandpa, Mr. Tumble, Joe Bars, Z Shan, Jiminy, Quite a Brim, Joseph Cull, Street Herbalist, Assi Dialio, Georges, Andy, Dan, Hermant, Light Eternal, Armzilla, Alex Parrow, Abdullah, Scuderia, Alonso Vega. Let's have a look and compare this to comparing this to Twitch. I've got around about the same amount of current live viewers. So this is telling me I should probably just stick to Twitch. So if you actually think I should be on YouTube, then make sure that you like this video, actually. Smash a like on this video. That will potentially, well, that will help, obviously. That will help. And it's, just a very, very simple thing you can do. Look, literally, if you look at if you're watching me on a mobile desktop right now, all you have to do is just go down there, tap a like. It's really not a lot, to be fair. Happy Silver, Quincy Lucas, Joe Gut, Daniel, Chris Rally, Chris Crypto, Steve Nen, Jason, The Populous Pimp, Jar Beta, Toby Liang, Southern Locks. I've already gotten to the bottom of the chat. What the hell? This is not like Twitch at all. Good to see you, Superman. All Team Suppo on this Sunday afternoon. Happy Mother's Day, Team Suppo. Yes, in the UK. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's Mother's Day in the UK. So happy Mother's Day to every mother watching right now, and happy Mother's Day to my mother as well. Right, okay, people. So we're currently in a situation. We're actually in a very, very, I would say, unique situation at this present time. We have seen something actually break in the economy, which is precisely what was always going to happen. This idea of a soft landing, in the face of the fastest rate increases, as in the federal funds rate, the fastest rate increases in history. And something was always going to break, and that something is the banking system right now. So the banking system is at risk of systemic failure, very similar to what happened with Silicon Valley. Okay, so essentially what that means is that most banks are at risk of failure due to rising interest rates and a high proportion of uninsured deposits. Now, basically, the Fed have issued about $300 billion in emergency funding to the banking sector in the last week. And as a result of that, it has provided a bit of a temporary backstop for one particular group of banks, which is the Silicon Valley Bank, the Signature Bank, and what was the other one? Well, Silvergate was one that was a crypto bank that has since gone under, and essentially, this is likely to have a large permeation throughout the rest of the banking industry. Okay, so what we are seeing is what we have seen so far seems to me anyway, just the tip of the iceberg, just a small little glimpse, just a micro, an amoeba of actual damage versus what is likely to be happening in the coming couple of months anyway. Because we have got, in just a couple of days, or a few days, we have got the FOMC meeting when they are going to be deciding what is going to be the interest rate moving forward. Are we going to be increasing or are we going to be pausing? So there is currently a 38% chance of a pause and a 62% chance of an increase of 25 basis points, which will only increase the interest rate and only cause further damage in the banking system. And Credit Suisse, who was one of the banking institutions that only months ago were we saying was at significant risk of failure, their crunch time is coming, and they are one of the biggest banks in the world. They have asked for $6 billion from the Swiss government, who have not played ball so far, and it's a 167-year-old institution. And now we are seeing the breaking of the financial system. Okay, we are seeing that the rate at which interest rates were hiked is now having a massive knock-on effect and is causing dominoes to fall. And the thing is that people believe that the crypto market at this present time, or speculating that the crypto market at this present time, is the safe haven. This is where you should be putting your money. This is this form of money, this form of internet money, which is, or at least Bitcoin, which carries with it digital properties to gold, should appreciate because this is hard-coded not to inflate like typical country currencies. Okay, so in the US, we are seeing a current banking crisis going on. And Bitcoin is looked at this present time anyway, by retail. By retail, let me just make that very clear. By retail as a safe haven. And so people have been speculating. There have been a number of reasons why the Bitcoin price has gone up so dramatically. Look, 33% in a week. That's unheard of. That Bitcoin should actually be outperforming most cryptocurrencies, and it's really high up in terms of all the top 100 cryptocurrencies. So it's quite clear that Bitcoin is the one presently seen as one of the strongest assets to hedge against what is going on right now. So Credit Suisse, this is an ongoing discussion. They are potentially going to merge with UBS. UBS may be the ones that save Credit Suisse, but this is just an indication. This is just a snapshot of how damaging this is for banks, not just the big banks, but regional banks as well. Regional banks that aren't going to get bailed out by the FDIC, which is basically the Fed Insurance Fund, to help make sure that everybody's deposits can be made whole. This is going to permeate into the regional banks, and people are now going to be considering moving their monies. And this is going to be a huge risk to most banks in the US, because people are going to be thinking, right, I need to maybe take little segments out and put it into other banks. And so there is likely to be further bank runs. These bank runs are having a big effect on the stock market, the S&P and the Dow Jones. And it is going to spill into cryptocurrency. It is going to happen. But at this present time, the focus is on banks and not on crypto, not on Choke Point 2.0, not on USDC and the money and the ties they had with Silicon Valley Bank, not on on-ramps and off-ramps and CBDCs, not on Ethereum being potentially a security. None of this is being looked at, and that is why crypto at this present time is thriving, because it's not under the microscope as of yet, because currently it is banks that are taking the hit. But regional banks are likely to be damaged severely. I think we are only now just seeing the potential for damage. Why? Because this FDIC recovery fund of $300 billion, two things about it. Number one, this recovery fund is adding to the Fed's balance sheet. Okay, this is something that the Fed has been wanting to be eliminating for the last year. Since quantitative tightening started, what the Fed has been trying to do is reduce their balance sheet. If you have watched every single Twitch stream that I've done regarding the FOMC meeting, looking at Jerome Powell and what he is saying, basically he says in every single meeting we are taking significant steps to reduce the size of our balance sheet. And what they are looking to do is they're looking to get their balance sheet down to 5 million by 2025. Okay, so their balance sheet has been increasing ever since COVID. They're looking to get their balance sheet down to here. And what was happening is that when inflation was rising, the balance sheet was rising as a result. Now, inflation, the quantitative tightening, has been working somewhat. Inflation has been coming down since its peak in around about summer last year. But now, look at what has happened. Look at what has happened. Basically, a massive spike reversing the balance sheet going down. All right, so this is basically opening out the potential for more inflation. And more inflation means what? Basically, greater interest rates, greater damage to the financial institutions. And more inflation is basically going to make cost of living higher, and therefore people selling in order to be able to afford it, in conjunction with bank runs. So what the Fed have been doing to backstop Silicon Valley Bank, this is not even a drop in the ocean. Think of the ocean. The ocean out there is 23 trillion in US GDP. 23 trillion, right? And their meager 300 billion is not even making a little dent in the potential damage that is going to come from regional and big bank fallout and contagion. So there is some big, significant things happening in the banking sector, which at this present time is actually helping Bitcoin's cause, is helping promote Bitcoin to the retail investor, the dumb investor. And they are falling for it. You know, they're buying Bitcoin and essentially another reason why this is happening is because of what happened with USDC. So USDC pegged a week ago. It depegged a week ago. So it went from being worth basically $1, as it should be, and it went to being worth 87 cents. So it was a major depegging. And that is because of billions of USDC reserves that were actually tied up in Silicon Valley Bank. And people were very scared at this point and were basically doing a bank run on USDC, which hurt me, actually. So that happened. And since then, since the peg has come back, now people are wanting to, because they don't believe their stablecoins are safe. So it happened with USDC, which, you know, there was this big FUD incident with BUSD. Everybody was like, BUSD is being sued, Paxos is being sued, the people who issue BUSD. The mint has stopped for BUSD, no more issuing of BUSD. Tether has always got a grey cloud over it because, you know, of Tether FUD in the past, China FUD, Bitfinex FUD. So all of this has significantly impacted Tether's reputation over time. And so USDC was seen as the kind of the safest one, the regulated one, the one where you should have all your stables in. And what happened was that people felt scared having their money in USDC and also in Tether and also in BUSD because of recent events. And so putting their money instead into Bitcoin and or Ethereum. And that's why these have gone up significantly. And the stable coins, which were also actually performing very, very well. Tether was at 102 the other day. And Binance USD was at $1.005. So these were actually performing well while everything else was absolutely tanking. But now, you know, people are basically converting into Bitcoin. They're like, fuck it. You know, I'd rather put it in Bitcoin, which really should be anyway a moderately inflationary asset versus the dollar, and at least doesn't carry the burden of risk that these stable coins do at this time. So that has caused for a massive injection into Bitcoin, but not hugely. Not hugely. Look at that, 58 billion in 24-hour volume. That's not that great. That's not incredible. Okay, it's kind of, you know, it's not much of a muchness, if I'm honest with you. You know, it's just kind of middle of the road, nothing totally outstanding versus the 24-hour volume that has been going on since the beginning of this year. It's kind of just still in the relatively mid to low billions, tens of billions. That's not showing any sort of long-term move for Bitcoin. It's not showing any sort of long-term move for Bitcoin. All it's doing is it's a short-term move based on the current environ, as it were. But there is going to be a focus coming back. I mean, let's have a look. So the FDIC, basically the guys who, the Fed branch that is looking to backstop all the financial problems, they want the buyer of Signature Bank to give up on the crypto business. They want to give up on crypto business. So given that, you know, this apparent decentralized money, this is the value of decentralized money, you know, why would the FDIC want them to give up their crypto business? Okay, so this news is still, this this anti-crypto stance is there. It's just not being felt right now in the, I suppose, in the face of all of this bank contagion. And these are much bigger stories. But the focus will come back. You know, we got Binance halting GBP deposits and withdrawals. Okay, so basically, Choke Point 2.0 is all about restricting the retail investor's ability to get into and out of cryptocurrency. And so Binance has now halted one of the great currencies, deposits and withdrawals. So basically, if you're in Binance, you've got Bitcoin on Binance, you can't withdraw into GBP into your bank. Okay, so this is just an example of, you know, the dominoes kind of you can see that the path of dominoes is just ready to fall. Okay, and Choke Point 2.0 is part of a larger move to basically make crypto very difficult to get into. And what's happened in the meantime is that we have got Fidelity quietly going live, giving millions of retail customers access to Bitcoin and Ether, right? So this is exactly what I believe is going to be the main story once this bear market has cleared, basically. All of Choke Point 2.0 is essentially to funnel money through institutions. Okay, so it's going to make it difficult to get in via via an exchange, via Coinbase and services like that, which traditionally is how we on-ramped onto crypto. Okay, we got our fiat, went onto Coinbase, directly traded into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that has been the way. In this wild, wild west way. This has been how we have done it in all this time, in the 6 years that I've been around. This is how we have done it. And now, what I believe is going to be happening, and this is exactly what is being paved for, is we are essentially going to, in this bear market, go down to such a low level that institutions that are not Fidelity, okay, the JP Morgans, the Morgan Stanleys, the Citibanks, all of those big major banks, basically, Bank of America and all that, they are all going to be offering the retail investor access to Bitcoin and Ether because there's not going to be a way to get into it, because Choke Point 2.0 at that point will have played out. It's not even started really to play out yet. We're seeing the kind of murmurings of it, but we haven't seen Choke Point 2.0 really play out yet. So this, what we're seeing here, Fidelity quietly went live, giving millions of retail customers access to Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is what's going to be, I suppose, the kind of main service come the end of this bear market. Basically, we are going to sell our Bitcoins really, really cheap to the institutions to buy it, be custodians of it, and then offer it as ETFs. They will be the custodians or use a custodian service. And then they will offer to clients the ability to get into Bitcoin, Ethereum, the major assets, and that's going to be the main story. Okay, so this is just an indication of what's to come. All right, it's going to be the institutions that give the retail investors access to Bitcoin, Ethereum, other cryptos, and what Choke Point 2.0 is about is basically to restrict any alternative way of being able to get into crypto. And that's why the prices need to come down. So if we see the price today, 27,500, this is just a kind of day-to-day snapshot. This is just what's happening now. Okay, this is just the focus is now. No one is attacking crypto right now. You know, it's not the focus. It's not in the news. What's in the news is banking crisis. But there is going to be a turning point. There is going to be a turning point. There is going to be a major turning point, but it's not the one that is talked about here. The major turning point is going to be when banks get into cryptocurrency, and how they're going to do that is through a mixture of kind of FUD events like this, Ethereum being a security, XRP losing a case. You know, there's lots of time for a bear market to play out. Let me just show you. Okay, so in the last bear market, we saw that Bitcoin's second bottom came literally just before the halving. Okay, so the halving in the last bull market, so the bull market of 2017, there was a bull market, then a bear market. The first bottom that happened at the end of 2018, and then the prices recovered, and then we had a second bottom. This second bottom actually didn't get Bitcoin any cheaper than the first bottom, but everything else was cheaper the second bottom. All the altcoins, even Ethereum, was cheaper the second bottom time than the first bottom. So, we have got a long space of time. Look how long we have got until the next halving. And this halving, anything goes. We've got about 370 days between now and the next halving for a second bottom. And as you will have seen if you watch my Twitch streams, there's always been a second bottom. All the way since 2012. There's always been a second bottoming. Okay, now, in the 2011, 2012, the time between the first bottom and second bottom was quite small. In 2014 to 2016 bear market, then the time between first bottom and second bottom was larger. It was wider. And then in between the first and second bottom of the last bear market, it was even wider than that. So there has always been a second bottom. And there presently has only been one bottom so far. Okay, there hasn't been and by the second bottom, I don't mean it goes to 15, goes to 20, goes to 17. That's not what I mean by second bottom. Well, a second bottom is typically the asset rises about 200% before it comes down and makes a second bottom. Okay, so it's quite a significant, rise before the second bottom actually occurs. But what I will say is this, right? Because I personally believe that in the next 3 months is when we could be seeing the real damage done. All right, so if I just take you back to the history, let me just make sure everything's okay and everything. I'm imagining that everything's still live. If I just take you back? Yes, it's all fine. Right, okay, so, bear with me. So if we go back to the 2012, then between the second bottom and the halving was how many days? 370 days between the second bottom and the halving. Okay, so that's so 370 in 2015. 317. So 370 and 317. Okay, so it was in excess of 300. Now in the last second bottom that we had, it was only 48 days between the second bottom and the halving. All right, so what I can draw from that is that was an anomaly, i.e. that was a red herring. It was unique. All right, but it seems like there are more instances, a bigger average, of the second bottom happening 300 days-ish before the second halving. Okay, so it was firstly 370, then it was 317. The average would be 345. So let's have a look and see how many days between where we are now and the next halving. 370 days between now, roughly, and the next halving. So if we have a look at 340 days, which is around about the average, that would suggest end of April time. End of April, beginning of May is a potential bottom for it to average the commonality of a second bottom. All right, so the second bottom to halving is around about 340 days on average, save for the anomaly of the last bull market. So this may have just been a outstanding event, and next time could be the second bottom happens around about 300 days. Alternatively, it could happen end of 2023. It could happen before the halving. There is another scenario which has been fueled by this, which is basically that inflation is likely to make a return, right? We've seen that inflation has actually come down. If I can find it, we can see inflation has come down to 6% from 6.4% in January. So 6.4 in January, 6% in February. So it is showing meaningful drops, but this was before the banking crisis. Okay, so the likelihood is now with the Fed having to print money, basically, that is what the balance sheet is showing. With them having to print money, inflation is likely to do a reversal. Right, so instead of going down, it goes up. And this is exactly what I feared. This is exactly what I feared. What I feared is that inflation would return, and actually this attempt to make a soft landing, an attempt to bail out failure in the top 1% world, is actually going to potentially make a longer bear market than actually a beginning of a bull market. Right, so like it is that actually we're just going to have inflation coming back and actually being difficult to get down. So the Fed want to get their balance sheet down to basically realistically 5.9 million by 2025. Okay, that is now looking much harder than it was before. Inflation looks like it's going up, therefore rates will have to go up to counter the extra inflation that's now having to be printed to potentially stop all these banking crises happening right now. So, we're likely to have actually an extension to the bear market. But I am I'm of the rule of thought, that actually we mimic what we've done before. All right. We tend to kind of do the same things, even in different markets, different adoption rates. Arguably, in 2022, we had a higher adoption rate of Bitcoin than we had in 2020, in 2017 and in 2013, 2014. Right? But yet the same thing has always happened. Look, we got this descending triangle which caused the first bottom. It happened here. It happened here, and it's happened again. So with patterns, we've always had a second bottom, and the second bottom we are yet to see, but we mimic. Every market cycle tends to mimic the other. So I don't know really how it's going to all play out, but what I do know is that we've got a set of grey clouds in the air. We have got choke point 2.0, which is essentially the umbrella term for the attack on the crypto space. Right, before I move on anymore, I do see in the corner of my eye some super chats. So I want to make sure that I address these super chats because I don't want you to feel like you're wasting your money. So let me just go back and have a look and answer these first of all. Hello, Super. BTC dominance has been reaching high levels. Total 3, Total 2 has not broken. Oh, is that Total 3 is the total market cap? It's not broken previous resistances. That means alts still have room to bleed a lot. No matter where BTC goes, pairs are bleeding. Yeah, that's true. Look, I am personally. Oh, what the hell? Go away. I am personally of. Fuck you. I am personally of the belief that, it doesn't always have to be completely bearish. Just because I'm bearish doesn't mean that, the market always has to be going down, right? There is a potential, because we have had a Bitcoin season, as it were, because of dominance, because of the value of Bitcoin going up, particularly in the face of the banking crisis, is that there is likely to be, a spillover into altcoins. So the money has gone into altcoins, then they'll go into large, then mid, then low, then back into fiat, basically, and then back into Bitcoin to repeat the cycle. And that tends to be what happens. It tends to be just a rule of thumb of what happens when you see a surge in Bitcoin, when it has outperformed everything else. Firstly, Bitcoin does well, then the alts do well, then the low caps do well, then the memes do well, then it's kind of a crash, and then regurgitation of the same event. So there is the potential for there to be a little bit of an altcoin season. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not buying anything, though, because I'm not a trader. I'm not going to buy something just purely to make a gain over the coming potentially month. Potentially, there's a lot that can go wrong with the FOMC meeting. There can be a lot that goes wrong as a result of the FOMC meeting. But having said that, I'm kind of feeling there could still be further upside to certain cryptos. Could go down a bit and then up a bit. Could kind of go down on the 22nd or 21st and then go up as a result of the FOMC meeting. The FOMC meeting is likely to have a very dovish stance, which means kind of the antithesis of what we saw the majority of 2022, which was a hawkish stance. But then there's the potential for that to all change in May. Hence why it's likely to be another kind of sell in May and go away kind of situation. But thank you very much for the 74.90 pen. I don't know what that is, but thank you very much for it either way. Let's go crypto. Hello. Had fun in Monaco? Great job. Let's get back to Twitch soon. I'm not sure about Twitch. It could happen. It may not happen, though. It depends. I mean, at this present time, I'm certainly feeling like... Oh, we got 588 viewers in the house now. So this is actually exceeding what I ever had on Twitch. So maybe Twitch... is actually worth, kind of forgetting for now. But yeah, I did have a great time in Monaco. I will be honest with you, is that the timing of Monaco could not have been worse, to be honest. But then that's just, you have to deal with the cards you're playing. You know, there was a potential for me to get into Magic. You'll probably be aware of Magic. Magic, I believe, has now entered into the top 100. Yes, it has. It's at number 99. So this was a week ago. It was 99 cents, and I was going to buy it, and I missed it. So therefore, that is something I've just got to wait for now, because this has done a gargantuan run since that $1. And that was the only one I would have bought at that point. That was the only crypto in my wish list that was looking super sexy at that time. But I missed it, and you missed it. That's that. That would have been a long-term DCA at $1, because it's been kind of trading in the near $2 for a while, at least 150, and to go down to $1, it looked like magic, but literally. But anyway, there we are. But when are you going to shave your hair? I don't believe I'm going to have to. I know that sounds. I know that sounds probably like famous last words, and also sounds. Remarkably calm considering what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum and the market in general, because it's kind of going up to 1.2 trillion market cap generally. But I'm not scared. I'm actually not scared at all, and I love my hair. So I'm not feeling scared for it at all at this point. I kind of just feel that's what I feel. Suppo, can you say your opinion about ordinals? Ordinals, the BT... I don't know what ordinals is. Is ordinals the... I thought ordinals was the Bitcoin NFTs, but I might be wrong. I haven't really given any thought to it. Yeah, it is Bitcoin NFTs. Yeah, I thought so. I don't know OSHIB and ODoge. But thanks to the €5... I don't have a clue what these... I have not looked into ordinals properly. So, NFTs is not really it's not really what I like to look at, to be honest. And if I am looking to get into something, then it will be when we're kind of at a bottom. OSHIB is not on CMC for now. Doge is, right. Ordinal Doge. Is this an NFT or a coin? I don't really get it. I guess... This is something that's been minted on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? But it's on Ethereum. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I don't really understand it at this point. It's not been at all a priority. Original Doge, blah, 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 blah. Doge on Bitcoin just makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it looks just like a speculative kind of play at this point. You're kind of... Ordinals is like a new category potentially in crypto. It's just really getting started. Bitcoin NFTs, Bitcoin, I suppose, not smart contracts, but some form of minting new assets on Bitcoin. So it's something I'll have to understand or get an understanding of. But at this point, I won't take anything that seriously. This doesn't look that incredible, to be honest. It doesn't look like an incredible opportunity. It doesn't look like this would be something I would want to invest in, as it were. And I'm not much of a a short-term speculator anyway. Fed is quantitative easing. If recession doesn't come, is bottom in now? Well, that's an oxymoron anyway, because the Fed quantitative easing will cause a recession. Okay, because the Fed quantitative easing is to help banks, and banks going down is really going to be as a result of the I suppose just the ordinary everyday person that lives paycheck to paycheck, feeling their money is at risk. Okay, and it's also going to have an impact on business, because let's have a look. If Silicon Valley Bank had not been bailed out, and basically there'd be a shit ton of technology businesses that would have basically had to close, would have had to fold, and there would have been mass redundancies. Right? But I think that the systemic risk happening in banks currently is actually what's going to be leading to further unemployment down the line, and therefore we're going to be on target for a recession. Okay, I think that it was too premature to say we're in a disinflationary period, because actually, the opposite has happened. And the UK have apparently avoided a recession, or at least avoided it for now. And that's what the Chancellor said in last week's budget in the UK, which is basically how money is going to be spent on services, etc. And the cost of things gets decided at that meeting. And they said that inflation, and they said that recession was possibly going to be avoided. But again, I think it's premature talk. So I think that they're. Yeah, I don't care whether the bottom is in currently, because I believe a second bottom is coming. And with me not actually being a Bitcoin investor, okay, I do hold Bitcoin. I have my bank of Bitcoin that I'm never going to sell, but I'm never going to add to either. I'm never going to add to that bank, other than to maybe convert altcoins that I make 100 or 1,000 X's on into Bitcoin. But the likelihood is that it's going to be dependent on what the situation will be at that time. Do we have stable coins? I'm certainly not going to convert it into a CBDC issued currency. I'm going to be converting it into Bitcoin. So that will be the only time I get into Bitcoin as such. But, Bitcoin I don't care for. And even in the last bottom, the second low that Bitcoin had in 2020, altcoins, let me just show you. Altcoins actually had their biggest bottoms. Okay, so this was analysis I did. If you've watched me on Twitch, you will be used to this. So this was analysis of, this was a sample of 100 cryptocurrencies from the 2018 bear. So when the bear started, to the 2021 top. All right. So what I looked at here was I looked at both bottoms. The first one was the capitulation bottom that happened on the 15th of December 2018. And then the second bottom was the COVID bottom, which was the 16th of March 2020. And if you scroll down, when was the bottom hit for most of these altcoins? And most of these altcoins, you'll know the names of a lot of them. Most of these altcoins, they hit their bottoms in the COVID cause, which was the second bottom. All right. Now, what caused the first bottom? The FTX crisis. Okay, the FTX, the 2-year yield treasury, hit a peak. We saw a bottom caused. We also saw, the rate at which the federal Fed funds rate was going up. That also, the 75 basis points, they also caused the contagion effect that caused FTX, and therefore the first bottom. But I believe that a second bottom is likely to be much more severe, and there to be an actual very significant reason for it. COVID was for the reason for the second bottom of the last bear market, but I think this one's has potential to be much worse as far as people's fortunes or savings are concerned. But fundamentally, what I really wanted to point out is that the second bottom was the worst one. And out of these 100, only 18 found their bottom. 18 cryptocurrencies out of 100 found their bottom in the first bottom. And 82 out of 100, therefore 82%, found their bottoms in the second bottom. So given that I'm an altcoin investor, I don't care whether Bitcoin actually finds a lower bottom, although theoretically my hair is gone at that point, because Bitcoin does need to hit 12 to 14 for my hair to be safe. Is it 12 to 14? No, it might have been something different. I'll have to look for the tweet. But I think it was 15K. So I was off by $500. But whatever the case, altcoins are where I'm going to be investing, depending on how the situation's looking, what's deemed a security and what's not. There's going to be a lot of regulation that's going to be implemented. Probably not the full force of it, but enough really to pave the way for institutions to offer crypto products, ETFs, on-ramps, and enough for institutions to buy very, very low. And yeah, that's basically it. And also enough for certain cryptocurrencies to be voided at that point. I think that we're going to see, and we deserve to see as well, a culling of the cryptocurrency numbers, like 22,900, basically 23,000 cryptocurrencies. That is just ridiculous. There's just no need for that. If we go back to this time 5 years ago, there were 1,700 cryptocurrencies. There's no need for 22,000. Most of this is garbage. Most of these scams are garbage. Right? They're nothing. They were maybe, the majority, 95% of them were relevant at one point, and now they're irrelevant, and they just are the dross of the cryptocurrency market. What really counts is kind of the top 500, and for speculation for the next bull market, the top 1,000, with a few outliers, maybe a few that fall outside of it. But 22,000, there's no need for it. They need to be killed off. They need to just be dead and buried and gone and attacked by the, potentially by the SEC. There needs to be a clear up in one way or another, and that's probably the best way. Siva Kalaki. Hey, Siva, what's your price prediction on Arbitrum token on launch and future bull price? I don't know. It's difficult to give that kind of. I don't know. It depends on what kind of. Depends on what kind of market it comes out into. There is a futures. I don't know whereabouts it is, but there is a futures price for Arbitrum. It's not that. There was a price of I think it was $20 or something that I saw it at. The likelihood is that Arbitrum's kind of base rate is seen as $1, and anything above that will be basically a multiplier on an IDO. So I reckon if Arbitrum was to come out as an IDO, it would have been a $1 cryptocurrency. I think the likelihood is probably going to come out to about $10, $20, $30. Depending on how the market is. If the market's bullish, could go out to a bit more. But it will fundamentally come down, but not a lot. Because, Optimism, Ethereum, Matic, they're doing so well in this market. I don't see Arbitrum having a terrible debut. I see it really performing. This is the 4th biggest cryptocurrency. So it's a winner. It's a winner. I think anybody who has got some. So if you've gotten some, and what you do is you go to the Arbitrum airdrop page, you pair it with your wallet, and it tells you how much Arbitrum you get. Now, I haven't actually looked yet. Stupid, right? But the reason I haven't looked is because I don't want to connect my wallet to anything. I don't want to lose there's a lot of money. I don't want to lose the money that I do a lot of my activities with. I don't want to connect it to the wallet. So I've just not looked yet. So I don't know if I've gotten anything. I should, because I've done a lot of Arbitrum stuff. I've been doing it for a while. So, but I've not looked yet. But Arbitrum is without a doubt one of the strongest cryptocurrencies of the next bull cycle. Where is it? It's not this one, is it? Oh yeah, it is here. Yeah, so Arbitrum, total value locked wise, the 4th largest amount, 1.98 billion. All right, so I would be expecting for this to be I can't really see Arbitrum being under $1 billion in market cap. I just can't see it. I hope it does. I hope it's kind of around about 500 million. I think that would be a good entry, really, because Arbitrum is very, very likely to be kind of multiple tens of billions of dollars in the next bull run, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in the next bull run. It's a behemoth. It's a behemoth. It's the fastest Ethereum chain at this point. Certainly, and it's certainly got the most hype. I think that there's a case to be made for Starknet, ZK Sync, and all that. These, ZK rollups being arguably a more superior technology to optimistic rollups, but Arbitrum is a mega brand already, and it's not even launched yet. So it's going to be a beauty. And I do hope I got some, but I just don't really want to look at this stage. At this stage, Lawrence, fucking hell! I don't even think I can swear on YouTube, but I will say it anyway. 60 euros! What a legend! Lawrence, and you were one of the big contributors on the Twitch channel. Wow. 60 euros. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate that. Between bank runs, security, I bet you're missing the People's Elbow and the $1 Billion Man and all of those awesome screens I used to put, but they're not applicable. I can't put those on YouTube because I'll probably get a copyright strike or something. It's fine on Twitch. They were fine with it. Between bank runs, securities and non-securities, FUD and crypto regulations, I believe we will have an awesome summer accumulating fiat for amazing buys. When the lowest alt prices come around, I'm being patient and holding strong. Yes, I mean, regardless of the price of Bitcoin going up and altcoins going up, etc., I couldn't give a rat's ass about what's been going up. I'm not buying a single thing. Everything is for a kind of 3 to 5 year hold, right? So whatever I'm buying, I'm looking to hold for one cycle, and that cycle could take a while to complete. But from bear to bull, that will be a 3 year minimum hold. All right. So I am looking, or probably actually probably about a year and a half to 3 year hold. So I am looking to squeeze out as many multipliers out of every single investment as possible, as much multipliers as possible. And current prices do not reflect multiplier potential, so I just wouldn't bother. And I can tell you this with 100% certainty because I invested in Zilliqa. If I just find it on here, I invested in Zilliqa. Here, this is where I invested in Zilliqa. All right, at this kind of price point, and although it's on Bitcoin, but at this date anyway. And I invested in Zilliqa 3 cents. It subsequently went down to under a cent in the second bottom, and then it went up to 17 cents at the peak of the bull run of the last bull run. So that 3 cents turned into 17 cents. That's 5x. Fucking pathetic. That was the shittest multiplier, and all because I invested prematurely, right? So I'm looking to squeeze out. So investing now is like the equivalent of investing here, and then this is the top, obviously. So it's the equivalent of investing here, and this is the top. But certain altcoins won't have that kind of trajectory. It will probably be more like kind of from here to here. Like this is 3 cents to 1 cent to 17 cents. That's fucking shit. I'm not going to go for a 5x. I'm not going to take long-term investments for a kind of 10 to 30x. That's just bollocks. Right? I'm looking to use crypto as a fantastic money multiplier. And that only comes from what I presume will be a second bottom and much lower lows than we saw in December. Much lower lows. So, 75% at least of value taken out of the altcoins, I would say. So I'm being patient and holding strong too. And look, worst case scenario, I lose my hair. The bottom, there's never a second bottom. We only go up from here. If that scenario was to actually take place, then I'll just invest in new coins. All I have to do is show you what I invested in 2021. 21 bull to bull. And look, these were mega. Okay, look, not hardly any I mean, even XP Networks was shit, to be honest. That was a 6x. That was the equivalent of Zilliqa. That did the equivalent of Zilliqa, right? And that was the worst performer, right? So that just shows you that you're never at a disadvantage in crypto. Okay, the bottom's not in, fine. That means you're not getting into old cryptos anyway, right? You have the money, the stables, to invest in new coins, like the Arbitrums, the Kai networks, coins like that. So, yeah, in which case, you're never at a loss. There's always another train. There's always another train. So you're never significantly disadvantaged in crypto, ever. Right? I'm living proof that I've been in it 6 years. I make, if not more, in a bull market investing bull to bull than I do bear to bull. Right? So you never truly lose either way. If you've got money in stables, preserve it. You obviously made a profit to want to put it into stables anyway, and that can just be banked for a coin that actually can make you enormous gains. Don't bother wasting it on a piffy 5x like I did. Dave67406, thanks Suppo. Are there any tokens in the Arbitrum ecosystem would benefit short term and the incoming airdrop? I think that the airdrop has. I think, and I don't know for sure, but I think that if you were going to get the airdrop, then it would have had to have been what you have done already. Anything from this point, it won't really amount to anything. I would say, to me, my favourites are Magic and probably GMX. But, I mean, they're just not investable at all right now, these prices. But, essentially, locking up on GMX is the whales way, how the whales have been doing it. I showed you a wallet in my last video on Twitch. I showed you a wallet. I can't show you it in this one because, I don't want that person to find out that I showed that wallet because I'll be in a heap of trouble. But that person had about 4 million locked up in GMX. Their stables locked up in GMX to essentially, to get a mega airdrop from Arbitrum. But, those are the Arbitrum coins I think are amazing. So thank you very much for the €5. Hey, Super, what's your thoughts on Rio? I can imagine I'll think it's a pile of shit, but let me have a look. Realio network. 9% of supply in circulation, so it's going to be diluted megally. The future of private equity is digital, yada, yada, yada. These coins never work. I tried it with labs. It was a pile of shit. They're essentially securities. Property is essentially security. They'll get shut. The Fed will be like Negan and shut that shit down if they see that. So I would not touch that kind of crap. It's too much of a risk. The risk reward is not worth it. Hi Suppo, I'm new here. At what price do you shave your hair? Also, do you like Hex? I need to find it, don't I? I'll probably never find it, will I? It'll just take too long to look for. But I need to find the exact amount that I said. But I think it was roughly... here we are, it's the one. There we are. If Bitcoin doesn't... This was on August 14th, 2022. And this was at a time that Bitcoin had gone down to 17.5 and gone right back up to 22,000, right? So this was a bold prediction even at that point. If Bitcoin doesn't hit at least 14 to 15K by March 2024, really I think by the end of Q1, which has happened already actually, but and it did actually, it did get a 15.5, so it was 500 off, but it didn't go as low as it should have. Bitcoin doesn't hit 14 to 15K by March 2024, then I will shave my strong black hair and go for this look for 6 months. Basically, so not only will I shave my hair, but I will maintain a shaved head look, which will look fucking awful. But I'm willing to do it because I believe that this is what's going to be hit by March 2024. And the reason I say that is because I believe March 2024 is really where you'll see the kind of last case scenario of the bottom hitting if we follow previous cycles. Okay, if we follow the last cycle, So we hit it in March 2020. So March 20, yeah, I mean, the halving's meant to happen in around about, I thought this was in March. That was bad. So actually, yeah. So anyway, yeah, so so by the halving essentially. So that was the official bet that I made. And like I said, I was just 500 off that. But I do think low is going to come in. But yeah, if the 15k never gets hit again, basically, bye-bye hair. And do I like Hex? I do like Hex. And it's a controversial subject, to be honest. Particularly with a lot that's been going on with Hex. So, for instance, Richard Hart has not been doing what he was doing. He was previously much more vocal. Doing all his kind of outraged marketing, the bags and all that kind of thing. He's not been how he was. Don't read messages, email, blah, 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 stay humble. It's like a different Richard Hart, basically. So there has been a bit of a pivot in terms of Richard Hart's marketing. He's not really been doing it. So Hex does not feel necessarily right now anyway as strong as it did, particularly because SEC potential scrutiny, potential penalization. But I maintain that Hex is a very good asset for DeFi purposes anyway. I did invest, as you all know. I invested in Hex, not very much, and I regret it a lot. So if I look at my micro DCAs, so when Hex went down to 0.01756, which was the buy price I bought Hex at, I only put $200 in. It was fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. But I thought next day it would go down. I put another 300. It'll go down. I put another 300, but it didn't. That was my first investment into Hex since I invested in it at 0.003 back in June, July 2020. So was it 2020 or 2019? Can't even remember. But this is my first reinvestment back into Hex, and I wish I'd bought more because regardless of what happens with Hex, even if it had gone down another half, by investing in it and staking it over the year anyway, you'll make a lot of that back in interest. So yeah, Hex I do kind of... Hex is probably one of the better DeFi coins to me anyway. One of the ones that I actually really like. And obviously I like Richard Hart as well. So but the entry point is just not there for Hex. Not even close. Glad to have you back. Julian Tapia, thank you very much for the $19.99. So glad to have you back. Suppo, I'm still in stables waiting patiently to deploy. Yes, I mean, me too. I mean, I'm getting sick of looking at my stable coins, if I'm honest with you. I'm sick and tired of seeing, basically just stable assets, freezing assets, while everything else in my portfolio is just kind of shooting up. Like, I'd rather see everything holistically shooting up, or at least going down. But at the moment, I'm just kind of sick of watching my stables. They looked very attractive at one point. When I had shit tons of stables and they were very low prices, there was like a very good synchronicity there. I was thinking, salivating, foaming at the mouth. But now it's just like, for fuck's sake. Like, although I believe prices are going to come down, etc., a lot more than they are now, I hate to look at my stables. So I am waiting to deploy those as well. And, like I said, if I don't deploy them in this bear market, I'll deploy them in a bull market. I don't care. I've got a lot of money. That's all that matters at this point. Farhad, can SEC ban exchanges? They can certainly go after exchanges that operate on US soil. Hence why a lot of them are trying to operate outside. So if they have as they have jurisdiction as long as there's customers from the US. So that's why Binance had Binance as a separate entity to Binance US, because their US arm can be under the jurisdiction of the US, but they don't want Binance in totality being under jurisdiction of the US. That's why they separated it. So as when there's jurisdiction, when there's customers in the US, then there is the ability for the SEC to ban exchanges for the US. And they won't necessarily go out of business, but they're under their they're under the ability to be able to fine them, and they have to pay the fine. Hey, Suppo, do you think there's any merit to Taraxa?
I don't see Rex T in your contacts.
Piss off. Taraxa. This looks like a pile of shit. What the hell? Where did that sound come from? What's that for? Taraxa's not old. What is it? 2021. It's got 30% of supply and circulation. Taraxa makes reputation accessible to every human. See, what it will come down to is adoption, and these guys show no signs of adoption. Let me just have a look at crypto rank. Taraxa. Taraxa does actually ring a bell. I think that I could have gotten into Taraxa, so they must have some VCs. Maybe it was a different... Maybe it wasn't Taraxa. No, I don't think it was Taraxa, actually. Public ledger, purpose-built for audit logging. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't look like it really stands out. It looks like a steaming pile of shit. Let me have a look and see how many holders there are. 1,300. It's been around that long. Nah, that's wank, man. Let's have a quick look at the. Have a quick look at their Twitter. 19,000. It's got MIH and an Algorand as followers. What is this? An Algorand project? It must be. MIH, they invested in Matic, so they're not shitty investors at all. Very little engagement. Yeah, very little engagement. So this would say to me that nobody could really give a rat's ass about Taraxa now. It's been partly bull market exposed because this came out in 2021. This came out in This came out in March. So this came out right slap bang in the DeFi bull market in early 2021, and then it didn't really even do that much in the latter year's end bull market, and it's only gone down 10x from that. So to me, no, it looks like wank. But thank you very much for the £10, brethren. Casper chart devs may be linked to BTC layer 1. I don't think it really matters. Nexa is related to Bitcoin Unlimited, and that's not really done that great. But I mean, Casper's pretty cool because of the fact this is a not proof of stake cryptocurrency. So let me have a look. It's doing really well price wise. Where's my data sets? Casper came under the proof of work cryptocurrencies. And they seem interesting. 20,000 transactions per second, 10,000 nodes. That's amazing, decentralization wise. So it looked good. The 60% in circulation also, and it's that new block DAG. So it's got the agility of DAG infrastructure with the security of proof of work. So this should fall out of the jurisdiction of a security because it's really proof of stake cryptocurrencies that are most at risk of being labelled as security and therefore delisting and fines ad nauseum. So Casper's not bad. Have you looked at Aventus? No, I haven't. But for $10, I'll give it a little look. Aventus. Currently fuck all volume. 4,000 hodlers is not terrible. Twitter. 19.4K. Followed by Box, really. Onboards enterprises to Web3. Revenue streams, yada, yada, yada. Is this a parachain? It is a parachain, right, okay. Decent-ish engagement, actually. 14.3K. Oh, that's Polkadot. Polkadot Insider. Let me see an Aventus. Yeah, 5,000, 1,700, 1,600, 1,200. Yeah, the engagement isn't brilliant. I gotta say, this isn't hyped. It doesn't look, mega promising. Onboarding enterprise for Web3. Web3 will be a narrative, I'm sure, at some point, but there's already so many little projects that do this already. It's got a quite scarce supply. I like that. I do like that, actually. For a 122 coin, where small circulating supply, it's not that bad. But it just seems pretty weak to me. What the shit? This has been around since 2017. This is fucking dead, man. They've revived themselves by becoming a Polkadot parachain, but no, what a waste. I wouldn't bother. How can you have been around since 2018 when Web3 was not even a thing? So they must have gone through some form of pivot in terms of, or they, what's the word when, bootstrapped, bootstrapped Polkadot to their, that's just shit. Right, okay, so I think that's that. Who's cutting your hair, that Martini guy or Carl the Moon? I tell you what, that Martini guy, if you see this, I'll let you cut it. At what percentage gain should you take back your investment? 5x, 10x, 20x? Well, this is the game. The game I'm playing is on hard mode, right? So if you play it on hard mode, theoretically, you get better gains. So if we have a look at my analysis findings, then, and this is looking at the bear to bull, this one. No, not that one. Where is it? Oh, it is this one. There, bear to bull, which was a very good trajectory. As you can see, the best form was Hex with nearly 2000x. And the median, it depends on how long it's been around. So if it's never been exposed to a bull run, the median, so looking at the 80, the however many, the 54 that had achieved, the 69, sorry, the 69 that had never had a bull run going into 2021, the median, looking at the middle value of all 69 was 104, and the average was 177x, right? But that was for ones that had never been bull run exposed. So one bull run, it was 79 and 45, two bull runs, 41 and 30, three bull runs, 21 and 21. So if you time it well, then basically I wouldn't get out of it until I'd achieved at least a 50 to 100x. Depends on the asset, depends on how high it is. So the riskier it is, I would have to just have a look at it at the time. Where is it at in the bull cycle? What's the hype looking like? Was it temporary? Blah, 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 blah. There's a mixture of factors. There's not a one-size-fits-all way of offloading your gain, of selling your gains, right? It all depends on the asset and what it's experienced relative to, its own news. So, yeah. There's no rule of thumb. But this is giving you an indication of if you hold out on an asset, depending on its characteristics, how long it's been around, and what category it's in, etc., then you could be looking at mega gains or relatively small gains. Depends. I like your accent. Is it Aussie? Whenever I go to America, they always think I'm an Australian. But I'm English, right? English and Australian are different. Australians are like, "G'day, mate. Get some beers in, get some Fosters, get some sausages on the barbie," that kind of thing. And we would say it a lot different. That's fucking hilarious. Are you Aussie? Oh, Rita's here. GHL. That would imply Carl is in legal age to hold scissors, which I doubt. Maybe. So I'm going to go into my the assets that I'm looking to buy, my wish list, essentially, very, very shortly. Before I do that, let me just take some more super chats. These are very, very useful. I know that when I watch it, for instance, I watch Jerry Banfield Crypto. If you have not followed Jerry Banfield Crypto, I would recommend you do because he's excellent. I would watch him and see how and watch how he analyzes cryptos as well, which is a model based on me, but even still, it's with his own take on it, and it's very good and it's very watchable. Vault Inu. So Vault Inu. So thank you very much, Sabolba, for the $10. I think it was, yeah, $10. Looking at 2022 coins. So, as you'll know, my analysis findings say that the best rips, the best gains come out of coins that were not around the last bull run, so 2021. So basically, post-2022, if it came out post-2022, it's non-bull run exposed, which means it's got the best potential for gains. So I have put up a list here of 2022 to 2023 coins. I've not really added many 2023 coins, but Vault Inu was one of them. Yeah, Vault Inu's here. So it was around 8 months at the time I made this. So this was around about January. So I'm a bit pissed. A bit pissed I didn't actually put a proper age, like the actual date, like for instance, February 2022 or something. But it had at the time anyway, decent amount of watch lists and a decent amount of hodlers. And it certainly looks like, one of the memes that still kind of gets talked about. 16 million in volume. What was the market cap back then? Volume was 4 million. The market cap was 43 million. So it's only increased. It's only 2x. Has the hodlers 2x? Let's have a look. So the hodlers was how many? 30,000? Hodlers was 57,000. So it's 21,000 on Etherscan. 43,000 on... So 21 and 43, that basically makes what, 64? And on Polygon Scan... Oh, 211, fuck all. Right, so that doesn't really matter. So 64, so it's gone up. So the hodlers have gone up not that much, actually, considering it's 2x. Surprising. But anyway, yeah, it maintains a decent volume. I mean, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it relative to Baby Doge. That's 9 million, and this is seen as one of the main meme coins. So that's surprising, because Baby Doge is really a BSC coin. That's why it gets a lot of volume. Well, Inu. Well, I guess the large amount of its hodlers are on Binance Smart Chain, so it's okay. It's fine. It could do well in a meme coin season, particularly in a bull market. Do I think it's a strong brand? No. Vault, the people's... Well, what the fuck is a vault? To me, a volt is what is that? Electric measurement or something. What the fuck is... what's the volt in this context? It looks like it's a what, a wolf? Can't really tell. So the branding to me is wank. This is a... I kind of don't know why this is so good. Like why this gets so much volume. Like this has got more volume than Moonbeam, I'm sure. Let's have a look at Moonbeam today. So this is 16 million, Moonbeam's 6 million. So basically it's like nearly 3x Moonbeam's volume. Circulating is only 80%, so quite a lot of it's out. So that's a good thing. Meme coins typically riddled with inflation. What would need to happen for you to change your thesis? I think anything is possible. All right, so let's just have a look. All right, so if we go to 2019, let's go to 2019. So Bitcoin went from 3,100 to, what was that, nearly 14K. And that was a 345% increase on the Bitcoin price. Now, if that was to happen now, theoretically, you would say, oh, Suppo, surely you've changed your mind. A 300% increase, which to me, I don't see that happening. A 300% increase on Bitcoin would be, that'd be 45K, I guess. From this bottom. 300. Yeah, wow. No. Yeah. roughly this much, 60k. Do I think it's going to hit 60k? No. But if it follows what happened in 2018 to 19, then theoretically it could go up to 69,000 and still retrace all the way back down. So my theory isn't, I don't think my theory is going to be invalidated unless an ETF comes out. That's really what will do it. An ETF. That means the institutions have done it. They've already bought in and now they're offering ETFs as a route into the retail investor getting into Bitcoin. And when that happens, that will be it. That will be the point. Yes, it's over. You know, the bottom's in. Until that point happens, it's not happening. Thoughts on quant? If you're looking for me to be a quant maximalist or a lover of quant, you're not going to get that with me. I'm not a big fan of quant. You know, it's already made the gains. I spoke about quant when it was $4. I said to get into quant. I don't think you can see it on my channel anymore because it's on my previous channel. But quant at that point was at $9, and I said, I like quant. I'll get into quant at $4. It went to $4 in the second bottom of 2020. It went exactly to $4. And that was where the gains were made. I'm not going to get into it now. To me, the multiplier potential for one cycle is gone. If you're looking to maybe invest in it for multiple cycles, fine. The tokenomics look good. The volume's respectable. I wouldn't say it was great. But 122,000 hodlers, that is not a lot. That is not a lot. And it doesn't really correspond with what makes a great crypto. You know, I have got a very established set of criteria I look for in cryptos that I want to buy. And I need to find... No, I don't think I've got it in this spreadsheet. But what it came down to is that non-bull market exposed coins did the best. Ones that were in a narrative that looked exciting or future narrative did the best. Had zeros in the actual token price. You know, they were worth under $1 or even in some cases worth fractions of a cent were the ones that did the best. You know, if I just let me go back to that spreadsheet. Yeah, so looking at the absolute best, because this is sorted by multiplier order. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, not that one. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20, 28 of the first 30 in this list were in the cents. Look, all in the cents. There was only one that was $1.46 and one that was $1.77. But everything else was in the cents. Those are the ones that have the multiplier potential. If you go down the list, if you go down to like the bottom, that's where you'll see $2.55, $3.96, $410 a coin, $9, $120. And this is exactly what I would say. Oh, I was looking at the wrong bit. This is the bit. It's $42, $23, $5. Only in this bit, you can see that they did not make great multipliers. And that is the equivalent of quant, in my opinion. Quant is already a 3-figure coin. Like, it's not psychologically buyable. And that's why it doesn't have a large amount of hodlers, because you don't feel you're getting value for money. If you're putting, let's say, 200 into a cryptocurrency and you're getting one token, what is the point? So yeah, I'm not that fussed on quant. You know, I think that Moonbeam is a potential is a better multi-chain cryptocurrency, in my opinion. There is a lot of hype around quant, but it doesn't quite marry up with the amount of hodlers. If I'm honest, it doesn't marry up. Did you watch Elio's last video, BTC to 1 million? Yeah, I did see that, and that is all related to where is it? I'm sure I've got it here. Yeah, this. which is a bet made by former Coinbase executive stroke VC that made a bet on the dollar being destroyed and Bitcoin going to 1 million in 90 days. But this was a pure marketing ploy. It's a little bit like when John McAfee said he would eat his dick if Bitcoin went to 1 million. It never did, and there's no real long-term repercussion either. Yeah, here we are. Coinbase's chief tech officer, Balaji, whatever. Yeah, he's the one that said this. It's got 100% upside. He either wins this, which is very unlikely, or he gets a shit ton of coverage, which he's obviously getting in Forbes and everywhere. So yeah, I mean, he's making a real name for himself, but who cares? It doesn't really matter. On a scale of 1 to 10, where's Zen and how many X? Zen is a very difficult one to call. Zen is, inflationary. I will say this, though. It's kind of found a bit of a sticking point in the 8s. So around about the 7 million market cap. So even though it's minted and more supply is added, there does appear to be somewhat of a, not a flaw, but a support. So it looks like it's relatively okay in this zone. If we look in the last month, look, it's found it at about the 8s. So it's not really going down a lot from there. So I would say it's coming towards the end of its hyperinflationary area. Like a lot of people were getting into this earlier, minting it on various blockchains, etc. But now it seems like it's coming towards a kind of slowdown. Like the mint is not quite as aggressive as it was. So yeah, I would probably be looking for another 0 for Zen. Because it'll take a while for this to get up and running. But I would probably start DCAing at half this price, I would say. Okay, that is it for super chats. So let me just cover off some more bits, okay? So we're presently at 27,677. Now let's have a look and see probably one of the most important data points I have been looking at with regards to Bitcoin's price. And that is the number of addresses with a balance of around about 1,000 or less. So in between 100 and 1,000 Bitcoins, right? Now, in 2018, these guys started buying from the first bottom. They started buying from the bottom. Like, there was a big inverse. So this is what was happening all throughout 2018. So currently what we're looking at is we're looking at the period of 2022. We're looking at the period of quantitative tightening and seeing how the wallet addresses have been going down. Basically, that means the people that hold Bitcoin in these wallets have been selling their Bitcoins so that they fall outside of the classification of 1,000 Bitcoins. The less than 1,000 but more than 100 Bitcoins. So they've been falling out of this classification because they're selling into this bear market. They're selling into it more and more. Now, there has been a little bit of an uptick. It's gone from, about 2002 hodlers to 2018. So we've got an increase of what, 16 wallets. But there has been hundreds of wallets that have liquidated during this whole bear market, and there has not been a noticeable reversal in the buying of Bitcoin at this area. This is the whale accounts, okay? So we have not yet seen what happened in 2018 yet. Okay, so they're still selling into this market, which means that they don't believe the bottom is in themselves. Okay, so let's just have a look and see what happened in the 2018 through to 2019 area. Okay, so look, they were buying close to the bottom, and then there was a noticeable, they were going down in 2017, and then they went up dramatically as we approached the bottom in 2018, and they only increased from there. So that's the difference. We are not seeing that pivot point happening yet. So they are not bottom buyers at this point. They're still selling. So that to me suggests that there is more room to the downside because even the whales aren't buying. The only people that are buying are the minnows, the squids. They're kind of still buying. Look, they're going up. Amount of wallets with a non-zero balance is going up. So, who's more likely to be right? Retail or whales? It's going to be whales, isn't it? So, even with the latest USDC FUD, that you're not seeing a noticeable amount. So, what I would have expected was for this number to go up naturally anyway, because certain whales that maybe are stablecoin hodlers in addition to Bitcoin hodlers will have been putting money into Bitcoin and therefore taking the address balances of, just less than 1,000 up, but they haven't. So there we are. So the whales are not signaling the bottom yet. Dr. Blockchain, come on, bro, you missed the bottom. You're coming up with your stubborn. No, I'm not. Look, I was wrong in 2018. I was the one, like you, that was saying bottoms in. And I was a newbie to a bear market. I'd only ever seen a bull market. I had jumped into crypto in 2017, beginning of 2017, and at that point, all I'd seen was bullishness. All I'd seen was multipliers. I'd never seen a bear market. We didn't have Glassnode. We didn't really have any of the metrics we have today, and it hit me as a surprise. And I was calling every single bottom that we were hitting in 2018. Like even here, I was like, oh, bottom's in. It went up. Bottom's been hit, people. No, it wasn't. Bottom's been hit, people. No, it wasn't. Bottom's been hit, people. No, it wasn't. So it kept surprising. So, crypto is just like the media, okay? You are seeing what they want you to believe. You are seeing and believing into a narrative they are feeding you. Don't fall for it. Because that's what I fell for before. And I got kicked in the nads big time. Whales aren't buying. You've got on-chain analysis right there. They're not buying. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, there's more I need to cover, isn't there? That I haven't necessarily covered yet. Such as GMX. So let's have a look and see what's happening with regards to the liquidation games, because this is what's going on in a bear market. This is what went on in the last bear market, and it's what's happening in this bear market. The money is made in liquidations, in longing and shorting, in leverage trading. So this is an area I don't get into, but this will just show you what's been liquidated, and really it's short. People going short on the market. That's why these narratives come out. That's why speculation is being bred into the market right now. The banking collapse and the narrative of Bitcoin as a safe haven. It's there's some people that are betting against it because they're maybe contrarian or maybe they're following noobs or something. But they're betting against it and they're getting liquidated. And that's what's going to happen. But the opposite is going to happen eventually too. You're going to have longs getting liquidated. And you're just going to have that game toing and froing until an actual event happens. That is just how the game is played at this level. Now, top 6 cryptocurrencies. I will cover this now. So my top 6 these are cryptocurrencies that are, to me anyway, they're my wish list. All right, so these are the only cryptocurrencies I'm eyeing up right now that I want to get in on. And that is my wish list right here. These are the ones I want in on. I want in on these pretty badly, if I'm honest. They're a mix. They're a good mix of previously exposed bull run coins and non-bull run exposed coins. So Magic is basically Arbitrum's Gala. All right, so Magic is a games consortium, games arcade, and just like Gala basically, but this is on Arbitrum. And it's very exciting. I really want in, and I am gutted I missed out on $1. So my wish is to get into this at around about 50 cents. Now, let me just have a look. So Magic has been 21 as low. Has been as low as 21 cents in the last year, and as high as 394. So it's definitely more towards the highest end of the price action. So for me, my optimal would probably be around about 50 cents, I would say. So more towards the lower end. Because in this bear market, it has been at 21 cents, but I don't think it's going to go that low again. Just simply because it's very, very strong. Look, it's a 392 million market cap with 311 million in volume. That's virtually 1-to-1. It's 1.7, 1 to 1.7, which is bloody ridiculous. Very, very strong. So I very, very much like Magic and very much want Magic, particularly as it's kind of like the faster Gala, as it were. Hex, you'll know my opinion on Hex. Hex is a very odd one. It's an outlier compared to everything else. It's kind of like one of the more riskier ones, I would say. Just purely because look at the market cap and look at the volume. Like, this has 10x volume less than Magic. This has got nearly 15x less volume than Magic. And yet, this is, 40 times bigger in market cap. So it shows there's a bit of a disconnect, and the reason why is because this isn't available on exchanges; it's only available on the DEX, and it's low liquidity involved in Hex, and that could be to its detriment and also to its advantage. But I very much want Hex, and I would like Hex under a cent. We are getting close to Pulse Chain version 3, I believe. So, or testnet version 3, whatever. So. That's probably been what's priced into it so far. But I still maintain this is probably going to go through a lot of FUD soon. Veracity, this was previously bull run exposed, but it's a cult coin. Lots of people love Veracity. And it's not yet been added to Binance, but Binance have a big wallet. And that wallet is typically for impending release of it, offering it to investors on Binance. So it's coming to Binance, I believe, anyway. So we just look at Etherscan and look at hodlers. You've got Qcoin, which obviously they already hold it. You've got Crypto.com, hold it. And then you've got Binance here. A shit ton. What's that? Okay, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's not a lot then. Yeah, no, that isn't a lot, is it? Well, value 3 million, that's not a lot. But it certainly looks like an intention to offer. So I would like to get into Veracity, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Then Voxies. Now, Voxies is also a very interesting one. This is a 2-to-1 ratio, a lot like Gala was before Gala made its epic move and made like a 5x. It was showcasing signs of basically very, very strong volume relative to its market cap. I mean, that is incredible. That is 2-to-1. So Voxies is basically the sandbox, a miniature version. It's got these voxel-based characters, very pixelated, very much like the sandbox, with marketplaces to buy land, etc. Looks fun, looks early stage. And they've got a very, very good team. EA Games, Warner Brothers, Ubisoft. The guys behind AAA games such as Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Mortal Kombat. Very strong team from a gameplay experience point of view. So this one I very much like the look of. And it's just got insane volume, I've got to say. And it's been relatively still, so that's made me quite happy. Not a lot of people obviously know much about Voxies at this point. Hello, I really wanted to get in on because this looks like a very good media-based kind of cryptocurrency. It's basically just like Gala in the sense that Gala is games, music, film. Hello is games, TV at this point, and generally looking to be an entertainment arm. So they look like a very early stage Gala. They're not as impressive as Gala, but the person behind Hello is a Grammy nominated creative director. So it's definitely very, very attractive. And I've got to say that I was very interested in this back in January. And I missed the opportunity. So let me 2022 coins. So look, if we look at the around about the top. Hello Labs at this point was 0.0083, which meant it was a 4.5 million market cap, and the volume at that point was 200k. And now it's matured a bit. It's got about 5 times more volume and about 5 times more in price as well. Yeah, about 5 times more. So this one looks really promising for the future, and it just won't go down. But I think this will really go down once the bears do their worst, which will happen. And then of course Zen Crypto. And a lot of the reason why behind Zen Crypto is because they've game theoried a lot of their growth. All you had to do was use a gas fee to gain, millions of tokens. And you don't know what value that will be in the future. And that's the exciting thing. You kind of got them for a gas fee, which is insane. And if you did it across multiple blockchains, you've got potentially hundreds of millions of coins for the future. And the best performer in the last bull run, other than like the best bear to bull performer. So if we were looking at coins that came out at the latter end of 2020, then Shiba Inu did the best. They did a 511,000x. But if we're looking at ones that were around already before the bottom and did go through the worst of the altcoin bear, then that was Hex. And Hex did a 2000x. And the most similar coin to Hex in terms of market cap. Look, the market cap of Hex was $22.3 million. And the market, before it made its 2000x. And Zen is currently 7 million. So it just goes to show this has probably got another 3x. I don't know if it will necessarily go that high. It probably won't make a 2000x. But the game theory is what mattered. The game theory was there for Hex as well. A lot of people who had Bitcoin could get the airdrop, were eligible for the airdrop of Hex. And a lot of those people were the early stage minters of Hex. So therefore, Zen is quite similar. They've got they've got millions upon millions of minters. I've heard it's 40 million people have minted Zen. Although if you look at the hodlers, 74,000 on Ethereum. I mean, they offered it on tons of different networks. So Moonbeam Phantom. I can't remember the others. So there we are. So it's got tons of explorers. It's not just limited to these 4. This is just Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and Avalanche. So it's on a ton more. And the demand, these blockchains actually had their most busiest periods because people were minting Zen. So Zen have really game theoried, and a lot of people were calling Hex a scam all through 2019 and 2020, and it made the best return. Better than anything else. Better than Polygon, better than Terra Luna, better than Avalanche, better than anything. Better than anything other than Shiba Inu. So that just goes to show that all that is trash isn't necessarily trash. Or all that smells isn't necessarily garbage. Sometimes these things can surprise you. And the fact that they've got, even on just these 3 chains, 84, 74, and that's Quant. But anyway, yeah, 74, 84, plus all the other hodlers across other different chains, just shows you how many marketers there are of this. So there's millions of marketers of Zen. There's loads of people have minted Zen. So therefore, by rights, all those people are going to be helping promote Zen in the next bull market, which means it'll really go up. And Zen really has all of those zeros, which, like I said, tends to be what constitute a fantastic bull run cryptocurrency. So Zen is in there, but I want to get it as close to the bottom as possible, just like I did with Tuna. That's Terra Luna kind of mixed together. So Terra Classic, I got this at the bottom. I literally bought this at the bottom. So that's what I want to do with Zen. I just want to try and buy it as close to the bottom as possible. And for that, we need to kind of see more bottoming events. And then I will take more positions on Zen. Because you can get millions You know, for a couple of hundred, for 100 or so. Like, probably don't even have to spend probably like $10 and you get millions. So yeah, so there we are. Yeah, Bitcoin's at 28K now, and I do respect it. I respect how it's done. I don't really care that it's gone up, but I do respect it. Look, it's reaching a resistance right here. Look at that. There's a resistance right there. It has hit the highest price since May last year. You know, since June last year, the highest price is hit. I respect that. You know, do I care? Do I think it's over? Do I want to buy now? No. Do you? Do you want to buy? Nah. Right, I'm going to make a move very shortly. So let me see. Are there any last super chats or messages? Bottoming events sounds kind of sus. Well, depends on what your particular preferences are. Super, don't forget all ERC20 tokens will be duplicated on Pulse Chain as PRC20s. Yeah, I know that. Binance event to go down by SEC. When do you think it's possible? I don't really care. You know, I just know it's going to happen at some point. I'm just going to be ready if it is. But I think that the main thing I'm trying to show you is that, you know, there's a lot of narrative. And this is the problem with narratives. This is why, you know, they're dangerous. They're brilliant and so dangerous at the same time. Like the best performing cryptocurrencies in the last bull market were narrative plays because people love a story. They love something of substance to grab onto that justifies why something has greater potential. Look at AI. That did super well in, you know, the last couple of months because that was a strong narrative because of ChatGPT. Now this is a narrative that is fueling potentially cryptocurrency adoption. In my opinion, the volume would suggest it's only at a retail level at this point. No whales are getting in. Wallets aren't increasing. You know, they're not really buying at this point. There's no signs of the bottom. Even yet, we're now 12K higher than the bottom, the first bottom, and there's still whales still not buying. Right? The institutions aren't in. The institutions are what breed bull markets. The institutions do. All right, so they're not in. They will pull back the train. We can't. If the train leaves the station, we gotta find another train. We gotta find another crypto to make 100x from. Not the institutions. They got the power. They got the 1%. They've got the mainstream media. They've got crypto media in their pockets. They can pull the train back, and they can bring Bitcoin and Ethereum back to prices they want it to be at, so they can get into it. Because remember, Ethereum, yeah, it's got kind of security risk, but it's also an ESG coin. It's also even more scarce, supply shock. It's also got, you know, various milestones yet to achieve, and as a result of that, it's very strong. They will put it back, maybe to under 1,000. We'll see. 300 Tate, yes indeed. 300 Tate. Right, okay, that is it for today's episode. Hey, Sue, glad to have you back live. Thoughts on blockchain backer showing in charts when Fed cut interest rates? Yeah, I mean, we covered that at the time. Hi, Sue, Voxy or Axelar? Voxy's a better... I mean, Axelar is probably a better infrastructure play, but Voxy you can't deny... Oh, get knotted. Hurry up, Siri.
I'm going as fast as I can.
Oh, you piece of shit. Just get lost. Why is this happening?
I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah. Fuck off is basically. Right, okay. What event do you expect to go down the crypto market this year? Well, you know, my personal feeling is that this bank crisis is going to have a very, very negative impact on stocks. And this is going to spill over into cryptos. And not only that, but you've got choke point 2.0 and you've got threat of recession. So there's a lot of headwinds. Like, there's no reason really to be overly bullish at this point. I've already shown you how, you know, in previous bull bear cycles, we've had a big increase. We've had a big, from first low, big 300% increase, and then we went right back down to just 23% above, the first bottom. So, that stuff, that can happen in a crypto market, and particularly with the more adoption, the more institutions, the bigger the drops, and it takes nothing. Look, the other week, last week, we went from 24 to 19.5. It doesn't take a lot to make all the dominoes fall down. It's a house of cards, and my personal opinion is that the danger zone is from mid of this year, kind of from April over the summer. So we'll have to wait and see. But there we are, people. I think that is it. So thank you very much for joining me on this live video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and hope that you enjoyed a return for the Suppoman on YouTube. And let me know in the comments if I wasn't able to get, because there's a lot of comments, people. So I try to get to them, and if I can't, then I apologize. But let me know in the comments of this video, what do you think I should look at? What are you loving? What are your what is on your wish list? Be keen to know. Till next time, people, I love you lots. You're amazing. I'll see you next time. It's lights out.